Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Help I'm an Adult podcast. And welcome to the channel. If you're watching on the channel, it's nice to have you. Before we go ahead, I'm just going to direct you to go click that subscribe, like button icon, and also comments and share the love. Also, don't forget to hit the bell to get notifications on any new episodes. Today, we're all about the podcast. As I said, this is a podcast episode, and I'm talking about fitness and staying healthy and staying fit. And for those in the UK, we're in lockdown 2.0, so this could come in handy to actually keep you going and so you don't lose momentum in your fitness journeys or in starting a fitness journey if you haven't started one as of yet. And I have a guest with me, and today you're speaking to my PT. I've been PTing with Joe. We've just tried to figure it out, but year-wise, 2017. So, so Joe, do you want to introduce yourself to the people and let them know who you are?
Yeah, thank you. So my name's Joe Reeve. Like you just said, Sharon, I am a PT, and I like to think of myself as a bit of a wellness coach as well. Just branching out into like all-round health, basically. I've literally all I've ever done is PT. It's been 8 years now. And I would say I've been doing it seriously for like 5. And yeah, I've had the pleasure of training you for like 3 or 4 years, we think.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between there. And I think we've come a long way, which is awesome.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. I remember, so I started with Joe, I think it was like through my master's, midway through my master's. And as you know, I've said this in the previous episode, that I'm not an educated person and I just needed to distress. And it was a master's degree. I was living at home. I was tired all the time. And I just needed something to vent out. Even though I was going to the gym, I couldn't make it to some of my classes because life and timings and all of that didn't work. And so I got introduced to Joe by his wife, well, now wife, but then I didn't know they were together. And she was like, "Oh, I have a PT that I know a PT that you could use." And I just wanted for mainly boxing workouts because I missed doing that from when I was back at uni in Plymouth. So yeah, that's how we started. I started with 30-minute sessions. Before I knew it, I was paying for an hour. Before I knew it, it was 3 times a week for an hour. And that's where we're at right now. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I say, we've come a long way, which is good.
We really have. We really have. And one thing I enjoy about like PTing with Joe, he literally he takes me up on every of my little oh, let's try this workout. And even though sometimes I'm like, maybe he'll say no this time. Nah, Joe always yeah, sure, go for it. Always encouraging to push me to do better basically and be better in my workouts. And also another thing you guys need to know about Joe, he is known as the burpee guy. Well, I call him the burpee guy because he loves burpees and I hate burpees, but he will always give us burpees.
Yeah, it's not just you that calls me that.
Yeah, but I digress. So today we're basically going to cover health and fitness from the perspective of a young, somewhat broke in lockdown point of view, and just get your insight on how people can actually stay fit, stay healthy. And when I say stay fit, I don't mean pumping them weights, and just mentally and physically with the little things. And we're also going to talk about, I didn't tell you this beforehand, but if you want to shout out your challenge, because I think it's going well.
Yes.
But my water intake today has not been that great. All right, so I guess first question is, what is the simplest / quickest way you think people and young people can start? Let's start with the starting point. Just start the fitness journey.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, obviously because of lockdown, and this in theory is 4 weeks long, hopefully no longer. Mm-hmm. But obviously everybody's lost access to the main source of fitness, which is the gym. And you mentioned about people maybe not having much money. And this makes me sound really old, but 10 years ago, just as I was getting into training, budget gyms weren't around. There was no such thing. So you couldn't join a gym for £15 a month, which you can these days. So people are quite spoiled with financially accessible gyms, basically, which is great. But then when it gets taken away, it can feel quite terminal and quite destructive. But first off, if you're already part of a fitness journey, or you were already on some path to better health or fitness, first of all, don't get too disheartened. And this is something I said on my social media, that a lot of people kind of were responding in a way that the gym was the only aspect of their health and fitness. And if that was taken away, they had nothing left. Obviously, going to the gym just makes up like a small part of the whole process and the whole journey. So there's that to focus on. There's always a positive somewhere if you want to look for it. And the positive here is that it gives you a chance to focus on other aspects that you may have neglected, because you just feel like you're doing enough by going to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, which obviously is great. But like I say, that's only one piece of the puzzle. You've got your sleep habits, your mental health, like you mentioned, your nutrition, everything under that umbrella. It's all part of the same journey. So the other options available are obviously, like, you're not going to be short of home workouts now. They're literally everywhere.
Yeah,
you just have to go to Insta, like Facebook Live, or even YouTube, Google, like literally there's millions of them. So it's cost free. Chances are 99% of them will require no equipment, because the people taking them are smart enough to realize that their audience probably don't have access to kit. So that's probably a great place to either carry on with your fitness or even start if you haven't done anything until now. Some of them might be a bit challenging if you are starting out on a fitness journey now. But yeah, certainly if you're an experienced kind of gym goer, then that's a great place to start. And you don't have to have a wealth of kit to kind of join in. So that's one thing. Secondly, as well, is walking, running, cycling if you've got a bike. During lockdown 1.0, as like we now call it in the UK, which is quite depressing, but obviously, like, there was like a massive resurgence on people cycling, which is awesome. And if you already had a bike, like collecting dust in the shed, or, you know, has been neglected for a little while, it was a good excuse to pull that out, get into the great outdoors, some fresh air, some vitamin D, and basically just do something a little bit different. So there's always that, literally using your own body, or a hobby that you might have just kind of half taken seriously before. I think you mentioned you've already been out for a run today, Sharon.
Yes, I have, which is new because I don't do winter runs.
There you go.
Even in the summer, I barely run. But today, and also because we're doing the challenge, I was like, I need to get my steps in, because I know I'm going to be sitting for most of the day. I think I still have like 900 steps to go, so I'll try and get that done. But
definitely.
Yeah, it was kind of helpful because it kind of woke me up. I had a 9 a.m. meeting for work, so I was ready to go from there. And I've technically done a workout already, so.
Exactly. That's, as you know, on the challenge, that's a box ticked right there.
Exactly.
So, and I think today was one of the lucky days where, like, it was literally clear sky. It was a little bit chilly, but obviously when you're out running, you kind of warm up anyway. So it was like the perfect day to go out.
Yeah,
which is nice.
The first like 5 minutes of the run, I was like breathing in cold air, not comfortable at all. I've gone for walks the last 2 days, like long walks for the last 2 days, which have been great. And I did have I'm pretty sure I have something is up with my right leg, but I still ran through it. I ran 3K out of the 5 and then walked the rest.
Good.
So I was
that's good.
That's good. But so we're talking about a challenge now. If you want to quickly give a shout out to the challenge.
Why not? Focus 28. Focus 28. And basically a 28-day lockdown challenge that you're obviously part of yourself, Sharon. And I think, like you said a little bit earlier, it's going pretty well, isn't it?
Yeah. I think majority of people, so we have a private group about this, but a lot of us realize how much we struggle with drinking water, which is like the most basic thing in this.
That has shocked me to my very core. Like, genuinely, the one thing that I've taken away is how everyone's struggling with, one, to get 2 liters of water in, which I find really worrying. Because I thought I was going to go for 3, and I thought, do you know what?
No.
let's go 2 just in case. And I'm so glad I did.
The Focus 28 is based on just completing 4 basic tasks, which includes physical activity, 7,000 steps. Yeah. 7,000 steps. What was it again? Drink 2 liters of water, and then like take a picture of one of your meals in the day. So the meal part of everything else, I've kind of found okay to do minus the water situation. The meal part, I always forget because I'm gonna lie. Yesterday I was hungry. And I don't even know what I had for lunch or dinner, but like I was like, oh, I'm going to take a picture of my dinner. It's always easy, but that also helps you kind of like either want to choose the healthy meal to take a picture of, so
This
you're
is it.
aware that like what you're eating.
There
But
you go.
when I think of it, I'm just like, so maybe that would be a motivation to actually eat healthier and not take a, even though the day I had, you didn't know this, but I'm going to confess, I did have a grilled cheese sandwich.
Cool.
It might have been like 2 sandwiches. So good. It was so good,
Yeah,
but I
that
didn't take a
sounds
picture of that.
unreal.
I showed you a
Mm.
picture of something else. So I
Yeah,
was like,
let's see. Well, that doesn't matter though, because the rules are one picture of one meal, and like
yeah,
you said, for that one meal, you're probably you are gonna pick something healthy because you know everyone's gonna see it. So it's like,
hmm
oh, I don't. This is kind of like a judgment thing there, isn't it? It's like, oh, everyone's
yeah,
gonna
it
see
is.
this.
But
Can't
I
post
do
my
think,
Dominoes.
yeah, for stuff or like for someone starting in the fitness journey, this is something. This is a challenge or workout, a challenge that they can definitely get involved in. And physical activity doesn't really mean exercising. For example, going for walks is a physical activity, and that kind of ticks 2 of the 4 things on that list. So physical
100%.
activity done, and
Mm.
as well as your steps in. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's a challenge. And
yeah.
I don't know if I know like intake for this is closed, but if anybody ever wants to pick up on doing it after, or just started after listening to this, I say go ahead, and I'll kind of put a screenshot of the template on the side, and I'll let them know
Yeah,
on
yeah. To get them to head to my Instagram. Because obviously there's loads publicly there. As soon as they jumped on my stories, they'll be able to see kind of what everyone's doing. If anyone wants to jump in, the more tags, the merrier. It's better for me
I
as well. So,
definitely encourage
mm,
you guys and people to just participate. One of my friends, I think it was day 1 when I did my end of day review post on
mm.
my story, and he was like, "Oh, I can probably get on with this." And then I think we're meant to start it yesterday. I need to check in with him and see where he's at. But I was like, "Yeah, like go ahead and do it." He was like, "I don't know how to get steps in there because we do the same job, so we know we're stuck on our desks all the time." And I was like,
Yeah,
"You just actually actively take lunch," which is something
yeah,
I'm trying to do. Or after work at 5:30, I'm just, even though it's dark, like probably go for a stroll. Before you know it, you've
mm.
hit 7,000 steps and just walk back home. There you go.
Yeah. It can
Yeah.
seem quite intimidating at first, but realistically, it's actually quite simple to hit at 7,000. I think this is just my own like unofficial research, but it seems if you have a desk-based job, your steps without trying will hover around the 2,000 mark a day, which
Mm,
is obviously quite low. And that's
yeah.
like a few of the guys in the challenge seem to flag that up. Some as low as 1,500, but yeah, between 1,500 to 2,500.
Yeah.
But like you say, a lunch break, a walk. If anyone has to take phone calls on their job as well, the whole time you're on the phone, one thing that's good is to walk around, like even if it's
Yeah.
around the house.
I did a marching on the spot while I was on my 9 a.m.
Yeah,
call, just to make
yeah,
up some of the steps that I didn't. But yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I think that's pretty good dope. Okay, so now for our avid gym goers, now that 2.0 came in, I know for my brother, by the way, hint, hint, who you guys will be seeing next week. For my brother, he was like, I've made so much progress, and now like it's all going to go downhill. Like he was hitting PBs. Everybody was like, I don't know, bulking or leaning, whatever it is that they were trying to do at the gym. And
Mm.
now they feel like this 1 month is going to be a ugh for their progress. What would you say
Yeah.
to those guys?
I think and this isn't really great news, but unfortunately, unless you have home equipment, there's no way you're going to be able to replicate lifting heavy weights to that extent in your own home. So obviously, if you're in the gym squatting 100 kilos, there's going to be very little choices to kind of replicate that at home. And you kind of have to accept the fact that you may lose a little bit of progress. But the good news is, in theory, people should factor in deload weeks where obviously you really strip back the amount of volume that you do for a week, or a complete rest week anyway. Now, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't do that. So let's say the first week of lockdown counts as a deload week, whether you like it or not, because it's happened. You can almost write that week off because it's going to act as a recovery week, especially if you've been lifting weights for 12 weeks or longer without any real structured rest. Now, let's say lockdown's not extended, that leaves 3 weeks. Again, the amount of damage that can be done in that time is fairly limited, which is lucky. But like I mentioned earlier, it gives you a chance to focus on some other areas that you might neglect. Recovery and flexibility is definitely one thing that pretty much goes uncovered for a lot of, especially male gym goers. I'm definitely in that bracket. Like I'm as stiff as a
You say
board. It
male,
leads to
I'm in
like
that
back
bracket as
issues.
well.
Yeah, it's not. it's really not great. So you can pick a foam roller up for like 12 quid, and there's plenty of exercises on, again, YouTube or the internet, or yoga. You can do home yoga and Pilates, just things like stretch sessions. Incorporate them into your kind of lockdown program, because that will really help you hit the ground running when you go back to actually lifting weights. And it may even help you notice the difference in the gym if you have committed to that. Now, one thing you can do is, obviously, we got quite inventive with our Zoom sessions, with bricks, big bottles of water. I think you brought the button-up squash out.
Yeah.
Like it was all happening. So at home, you've got various items that you can use to bring a bit of resistance. And again, I'm like, don't misquote me. It's never going to be like what you've got access to in the gym, but it can be something you play around with. Time under tension, which is effectively how long your muscles are working for in a working set, basically. So obviously a lot of where some people not go wrong in the gym but kind of rush through is their working sets. So if you're doing a set of 10 bench press or 10 squats, the temptation is get it over and done with as quick as possible, right? And just not control the weight as you should do. Now, if you've got a backpack filled with tins, cans, bricks, whatever it might be, and it's a fairly big backpack, you can actually add quite a bit of resistance. And there's plenty of exercises you can do where if you slow down the tempo and really focus on elongating the reps and the sets that you're performing, that can bring a different stimuli to your muscles, which will basically help create change and growth and just keep them with a form of stimulus whilst you can't get to the gym. So there's that as well. But unfortunately, if you're an avid gym goer, you're going to have to look outside the box here and see it as an opportunity to focus on something else, recover, stretch, recover. Do it. Just do it.
Yeah, we've talked physical health. Let's go to mental health. So I think it was this year, 2020 can do that to you. But this year you've been very much like encouraging in terms of meditations and just quiet times, and for us to actually think of our mental health as your clients, which has been great, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know meditation is not something I would do, and I'm not gonna lie, I still fall asleep before most of my days go, which is good because
that's not a bad thing.
So that's fine.
Exactly.
So, what would you say in terms of coping with the mental health of? Because I think if people can't, personal opinion, I don't know if there's a study or anything about this, but I'm always correlating, like, if I can't exercise or work out to let out whatever this energy or frustration is that I'm feeling, it would be nice to just have a moment of just calm where your mind is basically cleared and empty. And that does help me. And my moment of calm sometimes is just watching the most silly YouTube videos or enjoying something on Netflix in the background where I don't have to think about anything to do with life in general.
Absolutely,
So that's my meditation, because I ran out of my free thing on Headspace and I was like, I'm not really paying for that. So what would you say in terms of, so what do you do personally, and what would you advise other people to do to maintain a healthy mental health alongside physical health?
Yeah, so for me personally, you've pretty much ticked off two of the three things. One of them is like the Headspace app, and probably 12 months ago, I would have dismissed anything on this topic. With everything that's gone on, like you kind of can't ignore it anymore. And like a healthy mind leads to a healthy body, and the other way around as well. So you have to tackle both to kind of be in a complete form of health. So for me, I agree with you. I switch off after quite a long day. I just put something mindless on TV that I can maybe laugh at, or that it doesn't require any thinking. Like me and Lindsay recently watched Schitt's Creek, which absolutely had us in stitches.
Get started on that show. I love that show.
It's literally one of the best things we've ever watched, and it just like.
We'll discuss this after this chat. I love that show. Focus.
We've actually finished the show and we can't bring ourselves to start watching something else. But we've not emotionally got over the fact that we've watched every episode. So, but it's one of the best things we've ever watched. And no matter how the day's been, just kind of like lay there, laugh for half an hour, 20 minutes, and you just think about nothing else. And that's really helpful. I find that really helpful. Headspace as well. But this is a weird one because I never would have meditated again, like even 12 months ago. But I can't remember what brought my attention to it, but literally the 5-10 minute kind of mini sessions that you can go through. I think we had a particularly stressful period in our life where we were going through something, and we had some meeting, or I can't remember what it was, And before I was like, I'm really not handling my stress well here. Like I couldn't sit still, and I got my Beats, like noise cancelling headphones, and I was like, I have to give this a try. Put them on, and obviously if anyone's used Headspace, you know that they kind of give a bit of a blurb beforehand, and then it goes in to like complete silence and this really soothing voice telling you to focus on where, like what your pressure points, where you sat down. And as soon as that kicked in, I was like zenned out, like the silence, and my brain went somewhere else, and I've never felt anything like it. It tells you to concentrate on your breathing, to focus on your physical being, and just everything like that. And 10 minutes later, I felt confident tackling whatever it was we had to tackle. I can't remember what it was, and that was like a big wake-up call for me. Every time those headphones go on and it kind of, the sound cuts out and it's just the soothing voice in the background, that's it. I'm super focused on just that, whatever they're telling me to do with the breathing and focus. And yeah, I would recommend that for anybody, just to try it. If it's not your thing, at least you try.
There's other apps other than Headspace, by the way. We're not like sponsoring Headspace or anything. That's just
there's Calm. Calm is the other popular one.
For anybody who's an avid Bible reader, sometimes I actually just put on the Bible app on Audio Bible, put on a verse, and I'm out. The guy's voice is it's one of those like Genesis chapter 1, and he like goes in so slowly, and I'm just like, cool, I'm asleep, and like the app it just goes on to the next chapter and on. So I don't even, next time I'm waking up and I'm like, who is speaking? I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine, it's the word of God. So like sometimes that's my meditation app, because I just put that on, and it's definitely been helpful. And there's been times when I've found it difficult to fall asleep. I know once I put one of them soothing voices on, I am out, like not out fully. Yeah. So
you kind of have to find what works for you as an individual, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. So I encourage everybody, find what it is that works for you, to like find your calm, go to your happy place, or wherever it is that just makes you chillax. Even like with the physical health and the mental health aspect of things, if you don't have time to work out, I think exercise of the mind, which is, so I tend to there's also things I do, like there's the Elevate, which I haven't actually done in a long time, but it's like a brain exercise thing. So I'm not really thinking about anything. It's just like math and English, but it's something else to do to distract me from the daily hustle and bustle of everything. So that's another thing I'll probably suggest that people can do, like things to just keep your brain either stimulated for the better, or to calm it down if you think you're overstimulated, which is the meditation stuff. So yeah, in terms of just as a PT now in COVID, how did you, so let's go back to like, when was it? March, whenever day is in March, they announced a lockdown. How, just really briefly, like how has that changed your perspective on PTing and how PTing works or should work?
So for me, and you definitely would have noticed this firsthand and could probably speak from your own experiences as a client, as one of my clients, which is quite lucky actually. But as a PT, first off, the one place that most clients or people go wrong is they think that it's called the golden hour. Like they have 1 hour with a PT, and that's going to, bring them the body and life of their dreams and everything they've ever dreamt of, and they're going to be in a state of supreme health. I think there's 168 hours in a week. You see a PT for one, even like I see you 3 hours a week. There's a lot of time where you can either go right or wrong in there. And I think about 3 years ago, my attention was brought to like online coaching, and basically offering a more rounded service to clients. So things like weekly check-ins to keep you accountable, tackling nutrition, your sleep, the mental health side of things. Like I push, using 10 minutes of Headspace every day or reading, something like that. So self-help. And that was, the lockdown really drilled that in, because all of a sudden you couldn't see your clients face to face. Yeah, Zoom sessions could kind of bridge the gap a little bit, but it's not quite the same. And to be honest, they're not ideal. You've got 8 people on one session, you're relying on connection issues, and if 2 of you talk at the same time, you haven't got a clue what either have said, and it's like it's just quite stressful. There's only a certain number of ways you can do a press up. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like it's quite stressful. So as a PT, I think, and I'm a great fan of this, and you know me, like I'm not an arrogant person, and I don't want this to come across as arrogant, but it almost dragged a lot of the fitness industry up to a certain level where they had to get to provide a decent service. I think a lot of PTs were probably getting by on the fact that they maybe delivered awesome sessions, or they had a certain gift of the gab or something like that. We're all put in the same boat where the service that we offered or could offer all of a sudden became very concentrated, and we're all banging from the same drum. So that was a positive thing for the fitness industry. It kind of, it basically, if you didn't up your game, you were going to get left behind and you'll be out of a job, which is a good thing. So that's one thing. It kind of opened up a load of doors, and that's, I touched on it earlier, but there's opportunity wherever you look for it. The comfort zone's a terrible thing. And, you know, going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week and sticking to the same routine, that's awesome. You'll see results to a certain point, but nothing great comes from the comfort zone. Lockdowns, as awful as they are, and whether you agree with it or not, that's not for me to say, but it does force you to think outside the box and to adapt. So as a PT, it was scary at first, and it still isn't ideal, but I personally see it as a good thing, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I like the adaptation of like now our weekly videos of updates, like personal updates on your progress. And also I think it was in lockdown where you introduced like, okay, now everyone like nutrition tracking. We use MyFitnessPal, which I apparently I'd had this app before and I just never stuck to it because I was like, I can't be bothered like scanning every meal. But
Yeah.
I have time now, so I'm doing it, and I've been not tooting my own horn, but Joe will tell you as well. I have been very good. It's like since I got it, I don't think I've missed a day, at least in the last month and a half.
No, you didn't. Yeah, in October you didn't miss a single day.
Even when I go over, I'm like, oh, should I log it? Should I log it in? Because at the end of the day, it's for my own benefit and not necessarily yours. So
exactly.
Not the PTs. So that's the mentality I put into it. And honestly, it has been so helpful. Just again, I'm not even doing it for the calorie aspect of it. It's more for like the nutrition part. So when I want to go eat something now and I'm like, hold up, I've just had this and this and this. How much of my protein have I had today? How much of my carbohydrates? Or how much sugar have I eaten? Because I'm a cookie person. So go to cookie. But so those, like, that's what it probably like helps me more with. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't eat that one last cookie in the jar, or like go have that slice of bread when I really could do without it. Instead, I'll probably have a protein bar, which I started buying more of now. Those things are expensive.
Exactly. Yeah.
But a protein bar, or like I have a yogurt, which is a protein yogurt as well. So I probably have those to like balance things out. And I'm not really worried about overdoing it on the protein, because I do feel like I've underestimated how much I should be eating. But that's a discussion for another day. So I think like PTs, in terms of stepping up the game, like you've definitely stepped it up. The weekly videos helped. You also talked about the plateau. Again, I don't know if this is a word, plateauing. Find out.
I guess so, yeah. I've always assumed it is.
Plateauing. Talked about the plateau point a lot, which makes sense, which is also kind of the comfort. I would think that falls into the comfort zone, because by the time you get to that comfortable zone, and like, yeah, I do this all the time, but you're not really seeing any actual progress, will I say? Then I think that's where changes come. And that's when I always feel, I'm like, okay, maybe I should try a different challenge, a different workout. And that's when I'm like, Joe, can we do this today? Joe, because I get so bored of the same thing. Or I find little things to motivate me, like new gym wear. I'm like, oh, I need to test that out, so I'm going to work out today. Of course, you can't buy new gym wear every single day, so you got to have something else to motivate you. Or what is the other things I do? I just kind of like find new workouts. Like you said, YouTube is overflowing. And for beginners, if you just type in like beginner hits, there's a beginner hit workout, like so much you can find on YouTube. So I'm very grateful, number one, to have you as a PT, because
thank you.
Personally, I do need that physical person to be like, do this and do this and do this. And sometimes I can be self-motivated and just do the workout because I need to let out some energy and some frustration. Or even if I don't, and I'm just like, I'm in the mood for a run today, I'll go for a run. But having a PT definitely keeps me accountable, and I'm glad I invested in it and still investing in it. So yeah, I'm not saying like everyone will get a PT. If you can't afford it, don't do it. Just
absolutely, don't put yourself at financial risk, especially in this day and age.
I'm not saying everyone should get one, but even if you don't have a PT, find a friend, somebody that you can be accountable to.
Yeah,
that also helps. Or just social media. Everyone's posting their workout stuff on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube. Like, find one of those, be those people, to be that person to stay motivated in that way, and that definitely helps as well. So I do think on that front, that's pretty much everything we can really discuss in terms of staying fit and staying healthy. Before I forget, Joe also has a podcast of his own with a friend of his. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so something we started over a year ago, actually. And we used to record in person. So since lockdown, it has eased up, but there's loads of episodes out there that will, in my humble opinion, massively help. That's with me and a good friend of mine called Rob Carr, who I've worked with over the years. And it's called Foolproof Fat Loss, FOOLPROOF, Fat Loss. Just search that. Yeah, we'll drop a link. Yeah, that's well worth a listen. And one episode in particular is the episode around NEAT, NEAT, and that's, like, I just want to say that's hugely crucial right now, because the lockdown plus winter means you're going to be moving less throughout the day. But NEAT, which is non-exercise activity, basically, which is just movement outside of structured exercise across your day, makes up for a large percentage of calories that you burn throughout the day.
So check out the podcast. It is quite fun to listen to. And check out the new challenge, and also, which is Focus 28. I put the description for that below. Also, and what else am I missing? Yeah, stay fit however way you can. Either start with good, healthy eating habits, start with going for daily walks, getting your steps in, and just see how it goes. Let me know how your fitness journeys go, and let me know if you're enjoying it so far, if you've learned anything new, if you listen to Joe's podcast, because I definitely think that's handy and helpful. If they go into details furthermore for like experienced fitness people, but find what it is. But like you said, that episode on NEAT, I think that was a good one as well, because even I'd never really paid attention to that aspect of things. So yeah. Other than that, I think that's it. And again, on Help I'm an Adult, check out all the other videos if you haven't. I've done a cooking one. There's a few fitness, maybe one fitness one, one cooking one, which is, the cooking one, the recipe was from Joe, the veggie eggs. That's like a staple in my life now. So
thought I recognized that photo.
So yeah, check that out. But yeah, other than that, Joe, do you want to say goodbye to the people?
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to quickly add, and I really don't want to forget this because it's quite important, but if you're struggling for motivation over lockdown, this is something that I recommend everybody does, is write down like 1 or 2 reasons why it's important to you to stay healthy. And not like, I want to stay healthy because I want to drop a couple of pounds, but like, really, why is it important? Let's say you have children, it might be important that you are in a good state of health because your children literally depend on you. And if you're in hospital or you're obese laying on the sofa, they're going to struggle. Write down a reason why it's so important to you, and an emotional, personal reason why. Other than that, yeah, I'm all done. Thank you very much.
No problem. Well, great to have you. And everybody, don't forget again, hit subscribe, like, comment, notification bell, and I'll see you on the next episode of Help I'm an Adult. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.